Hello, welcome back. I watched my video about the battle between Frost and Whirlwind and immediately had a bunch of thoughts throughout, that I was like, it's too bad I didn't say that in that video because then that video would have me saying it and I wouldn't have to make a second video to say these things. But so this is a part two to that video. If you haven't seen that video, then none of this will make sense. Not that it will make sense anyway if you've seen that video, unless you've seen a lot more of my other content. But besides the point, so in this story, there are the Whirlwind, the boy and girl, the Frost woman, Frost and Great Cold woman who comes to the cabin, picks up the little girl and swallows her, and then the little boy ends up getting on her back and then getting attached to her, clung to her so tightly that it became fastened to her back. And I didn't know what to make of the little boy, but I was thinking the little girl was basically like they were basically eddies, where the boy and girl, it occurred to me maybe the eddies are smaller eddies, but they're boy and girl. One of them is going clockwise, one's going counterclockwise. So when an advancing glacier comes along, my thought is it literally rests atop one nucleus, possibly here, and swallows the little girl. But the boy gets on her back. I thought, well, what if the boy is another eddy that got atop this advancing glacier? Because if you think about it, there's a glacier growing over here, in pretty much in an ancient ocean anyway. So I'm not even completely sure that the glacier isn't just within the ocean, just like the ocean freezing, but having currents flowing, but largely freezing over here for some reason. Where, well, besides that it's cold over there, but not. It must just be so cold that it was able to, if that's the case. But essentially, it advances over here, but there's water here, in this region. So as it advances, there's kind of a balance between them. But if you think about it, if the water's deep enough and it's high currents, and then there's this ice advancing, which is still a solid ice, so it still advances like solid ice, then those currents could either go below and or atop. So my thought was the boy went atop it, there was an actual current, an eddy like this one maybe, atop the glaciers. As crazy as that sounds. And then it froze to its back in part, so it became energetically attached to the glacier. So I said the boy vortex on top of glacier stably attached. And importantly stably, because he becomes attached, and then throughout the story he's just oh, I'm not getting attacked, I'm not getting consumed, wherever it says that. Told him to get on. She couldn't put her hands around to pull him off, nor could turn her head to bite him. So there's advancing glacier, but it's got now a eddy on top of it, maybe, as the boy. Whereas the girl, I was thinking, maybe got trapped underneath, there was an eddy here underneath of the advancing glacier, although I was focused more over here. I had some thoughts that were pretty interesting. Retreat to CP in river map. Okay. And then, so the grandmother comes along, kills the glacier. The glacier melts, goes back, releases the eddies so that the eddies are free from the advanced glacier. And then the glaciers return, according to the story and my interpretation of them, return, which then causes the eddies to move, to retreat, and leave behind trails that get frozen, and basically as the glaciers advance. But interestingly, this one, notice over here, this is 65 to 56 million. And then area of discharge over here. But then pink, added drainage area during this period in the region over here. So it's almost like after the earth started expanding, water started to go this way and retreated over here as glaciers advanced to their maximum. Okay, tore off clothes. So the grandmother comes along and tears off the clothes of this first frost and great cold woman. That made me think of like getting into the rind of a rock, like a uh, maybe this is a decent enough example. I probably have better examples in my pictures. Let's find some. Probably in Shallograms. Notice just the outer section, inner section. That's kind of what I'm looking for, is where there's a tendency for these to have like sequential hard soft materials where sometimes the nucleus can be soft, sometimes the nucleus can be hard with a soft shell that then has a hard shell around that. I don't know if I have any. These are all Meraki boulders, I think. These tend to just have no innards. I swear I have way more pictures than that. Point being, having some kind of outer shell to the glacier that's extra cold because it was exposed to the cold more. So it froze more harder. It was just harder than the inner portion of the glacier. So like when the grandmother tears off the clothes of the frost woman, they're really breaking into the outer rind. And then I wrote down digging roots. Something within this made me think of grandmother as being like a very large body of water here that's swirling and giving birth to smaller bodies of swirling water. So there's maybe around here, like slower. I don't know, or even like larger, like so large that it's subtle. Maybe even related to here. But it said digging roots. Some reason it made me think of Supernova 1987A. Like these, it's supernovas, and then it's got a ring of these, like, fiery points resulting from the supernova. These eyeball things. Kind of made me think of digging roots. Like if there's water generally moving across the whole continent that extends beyond the continent, maybe it digs roots at the edge of the continent. Like over here, all these regions, like it's digging roots into lower, lower and lower, like the potholes, but so deep as to dig roots. That was another thing I thought of. We have to set. Okay, so then they kill off the frost woman, get back the boy and girl, and then the frost woman, their people, come back at some point and basically advance where the whirlwinds have to separate and fight singly. So I was thinking if it's advancing, but there's still this like area that's generally held between the Appalachians and over here, like where the water is getting squeezed, that maybe as the water or as the eddies advance, there's less moving water and they lose some energy and they have to retreat. And it says separate and fight singly. And I was thinking maybe that meant like one big vortex that literally separates into smaller vortexes because of the conditions, kind of like breaking an atom down into, or like Earth down into its atoms. Like there's many vortexes within a vortex, but like fractally so, where it becomes a vortex alone, but it also is still composed of those many vortexes. So when like shattered under pressure, it can break into smaller pieces maybe. So it appears like they broke into smaller pieces. And actually went over here, I mean, we got data that this region was flooded later. Like it wasn't like that here. Drainage divide, there's nothing, and then boom, added drainage area, as if there was added water there. That goes up here, up this way. So the narrative of that was going west and east. So maybe west, east. This is kind of more so north, but still it's like to the west of over here where this is, I guess, east. I don't know. In terms of what I'm saying. Okay, I just want to do an update on that. I don't want to have a video that's only 15 minutes now. So do I want to do, maybe I'll just look around real quick. Let's find Summer Conquers Winter. That sounds similar. Pretty long. I'm just gonna look through these real quick. That's the one we just did. Summer kills autumn and is herself killed by winter. So there's another Whirlwind and Panther. Let's see what Whirlwind and Panther says. Okay, this one's short. Let's do this one then. And then I'll stop. Whirlwind and Panther. Before we do that, Whirlwind over here, and then Panther. Just thoughts that pop up in my head are the Panther over here, over here, over here. There, that one. That's the best one. So Panther, and then the actual best one is the Pink Panther, of course. But some relationship to Panther over here, some relationship to Whirlwind over here. Once in a Seneca village, a party of men was preparing to go on a hunting expedition. In that village was a young man whom people thought was foolish, not strong of mind. Oh my god, my poor father. In that village was a young man whom people thought was foolish, not strong of mind. He knew that hunters were getting ready for an expedition, and he went to one and another and asked to go with them, but no one would let him go. After the hunters started, a young woman took After the hunter started, a young woman took pity on the young man, went to him and said, "Let us marry and go hunting." He was willing. They started off together, and after going some distance, camped in the forest. The man couldn't find any big game, but he killed squirrels and small game. My dad just woke up. It's like clear everything out time. Couldn't find any big game, but he killed squirrels. Squirrels we've seen with the Norse mythology to be related to current flows and small games, so maybe little things. Got captured by a small eddy, some type of whirlwind. Made traps to catch deer and put them down where he thought deer would come. We've seen the deer here and here and here. Not the best one, but best one again. Rudolph, of course, is the best one. Just, I don't know if it's related to that. And then hawk. Okay, maybe this is more global one. One morning, when the young man went to look at his traps, he heard someone crying. The sound came nearer and nearer. Soon he saw a woman and two little boys. The woman was crying. As she came up, she said to the young man, "Help me, or we will be killed. One of my little boys stole a feather and pulled it to bits. We are going to be killed for it. I want you to shoot the hawk on that tree over there." And when the person comes whose feather my little boy took, throw the hawk at him and call out, here's your feather. The man killed the hawk, Birdman with a eagle with a hawk eye is what the Norse mythology says. I don't know why that would be related. One of my little boys stole a feather and pulled it to bits. Stole a current and pulled it to bits. From the bird, maybe. If it's like dendrital currents off of it making feathers, then stole a current from the Birdman. So one of the whirlwinds absorbed the current in a way that we are going to be killed for it. I want you to shoot the hawk on that tree over there, which is the tree of life, the tree of the world tree, in what I'm interpreting it. And when the person comes whose feather my little boy took, throw the hawk at him and call out, here's your feather. No sooner had he done so than he heard a terrible roar and noise, and trees began to fall. A man came and stood on a close-by tree. This man had enormous eyes and long hair. That was all there was of him, just a great head without a body. Makes me think of this head. Big head, and then like feet here, knee. It's almost like he doesn't really have a body. Big head. I don't know why. None of this is like fitting together with this storyline, but might as well just see if it sees. It at least has the same things I've found throughout the world, and that can give direction at least. This man had enormous eyes and long hair. The young man threw the hawk at him and said, here is your feather. The head caught it, said, thank you, and was satisfied. The woman was a panther, and the children were her cubs. But to the young man she appeared to be a real woman. She told him that she lived among the rocks, and that the head, Whirlwind, was her neighbor. While he was away from home, her little boy went to his cabin, found his feathers, and spoiled one of them. When Whirlwind came home, he was angry and chased her. She told the young man that her little boy, so a panther's little boy panther, found his feathers and spoiled one of them. The currents coming out from the Birdman, making it over here and spoiling one of them. I don't know in what regard. Absorbing a current somehow that then caused an imbalance in the systems. While he was away from home, our little boy went to his cabin. The Whirlwind found his feathers and spoiled one of them. When the Whirlwind came home, he was angry and chased her. She told the young man that she knew he was poor, that no man would hunt with him, and she said, hereafter I will help you, and you will get more game than any of the hunters. I do this because you saved me and my boys. After that, the young man killed more game than any other hunter in the village. I have no idea what to make of this, if it is in any way relating to what I'm talking about. Like, maybe that this is at the roots of the tree, so a lot of stuff's going on at the roots. the glaciers advancing, like, and then water here fighting back with the Whirlwind Clan, if you will. Fighting back, like, more so maybe than elsewhere. Like, mostly happening here so that they are the getting more game than any of the other hunters. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I'll be back, I guess. Maybe let's just look at the titles and I won't read anymore. So feel free to see you later if you don't want to watch me boringly do this. Hotho conquers. Okay. Friend of it. Bird in search of a mate. That one maybe. Origin of stories. Maybe. Man-eating wife. Little old woman in the morning star. Two young men who went to the blue, speaker and definer. The blue makes me think of Blue Kachina. I don't know if it has any relationship, but grandfather, grandson, and eagle woman. Thunder boy, great spirit overpowers the cold. I think I already opened that one, just in case. Man-eater and his brother Whirlwind. Owl and his jealous wife. Something tree worm and his mother-in-law. Cold and frost or stonecoat woman. Wolf and the old woman's grandson. A race between bear and turtle. Bald eagle sends mud turtle to the edge of the world. That. Again, this is where the mantle puncture hole is. It flows out of the eagle. And it ends up flowing to... Oops. Here, and then creating the Western Pacific, which we've previously seen potentially as being turtle-like in some regard also. That one for sure. Let's see how long it is. Long enough to not read it right now. Besides, I already told people that I wasn't going to read more. I'm just looking at titles. The Boy Who Learned the Song of Birds. The Coming of Spring. Creation of Men. Buffalo Women. Ghost Woman. I'm just looking for stuff that resonates with things I know. Rain Old Man and the Horned Snake. Horned Snake makes me think of some things of current flows, maybe that are irrelevant current flows. I don't know. Whirlwind and her husband. Bird Medicine. Coon Deceives Crawfish. Deserted Boy. Whirlwind. Flying Squirrel in the Seasons. Adventures of Yellowbird. Young Woman in Thunder. Partridge and Turtle and their cousin Wolves. Thousand Legs and Bright Body. His son. Young man rescued by a toad. Man pursued by his uncle and by his wife. A lazy man. Swan's daughter. Mary's earthquake son. Little boy. A lot of things that are just kind of things like that title. Little boy and his dog. Beautiful ears. Although maybe that could have some relationship to the wolf things over here. Fox thing. Whatever you want to call it. Depending on the story that is relating to it, maybe. War between Senecas and Cherokees. Turtle on the Warpath. The Great Snake Battle. Definitely that one. That one makes me think of over here. Snake battling. Like this. As well as like maybe the Great Snake Battle flowing out over here. Where is Portal? So there it is also. Figures. But where this divides, the Mariana Trench current comes inside, but then another current goes up and over, so it does that thing like this. So there's also a snake battle going on there. So maybe the Great Snake Battle is going on there, but maybe on the west coast of North America is reflective of those things, depending on what it says. 2 Seneca women escape, a hunter who became a fish. That makes me think of Loki. Just Loki became a fish at some point. Dead man speaks through fire. The Feast of Whirlwinds. Thunder destroys horned snake. The friendship of an otter. How chipmunks got their stripes. Child fed and cared for by a porcupine and a bear. Brother and sister pursued by a man-eater. A raccoon story. The moose woman. The adventures of Turkey's brother goes in search of a wife. 12 brothers and their uncle. Uncle and nephew, a man, which I think is a whirlwind name. A man chased by the Ancient of Lizards. Ancient of Lizards. This lizard looks kind of like he's running. Like a head here, back over this way with some legs, but like it's in a fast motion. Man being chased. I don't know, this man is related. Great Bear and the 6 Hunters are the 7 stars of the Dipper. The chipmunk and the bear, the wren, the 12 stars, the woman and the dog. A man conquers stone coat, ice and cold. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.